Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining me here once again. Hope you guys are doing well. And for this morning, I want to draw this another eye video. I know there are plenty of eye videos on YouTube, very popular back then. But what attracted me to this one was the blurring, so the very narrow focus on the eye. So that might be kind of interesting to draw. See if I can recreate the softness right here and really have the focus, right around here, just like the photograph. So that could be kind of interesting. So I'm gonna be using, I'll try to do a cleaner drawing this time. Let's see how that goes. You know how I like to do things quick and messy. So maybe this time I'll try to be a little bit cleaner, I guess. Okay, so I'm actually gonna be using my HB to sketch. Since there are a lot of clean lines here, let's see, I want to get at least decent eyeball. Okay, so I'm just gonna draw an oval. So this will represent the eyeball. Okay, I mean wait, that's the pupil. No, it's just the iris. This would be the iris, I think. I always get confused as to what is what. Okay, let's see the middle here. So this would be the pupil. And then let's see the upper lid. So this is almost like a side view, so it's gotta be a little careful in terms of the proportions. It is very a little bit more extreme. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the corner of the eyes right around here. So horizontal line, so it'll be right around here. Okay, just roughly. Then the amount of white, the amount of the eye white here would be almost slightly smaller than the width of this. So the width of this slightly smaller. So it's actually only over here. So you see how wrong I was on the initial sketch right there. Good thing I kind of measured, because again, the angles are very extreme when we see it at this angle on the side. So it does kind of throw you off sometimes. Okay, and then the eyelash coming in. Let's see, then the lower lid. The corner of the eye right here, around here, but this is gonna be all blurred out, which is gonna be interesting. Okay. When you guys are sketching, hope you guys can even see the sketch lines. I'm really light on my hand, and especially with curved lines, you want to draw multiple lines. Try not to go one line like this, because it's very stiff and you'll probably get it wrong in terms of placement. But if you draw a lot of multiple lines, repeating the same stroke, you have a much better chance of having a correct line. So that's why you see people keep doing this over and over again. That's how we sketch. Okay, so I think this is okay. See, this actually goes out more. See, it's very strange. Black. See, I'm gonna draw in some of the highlight here. There's a black line here. Highlight, highlight, highlight. I'm just marking in some reference, and now switch out to the my other pencil. All right, let's move on to a little bit darker pencil so we can actually see what's going on. Let's see. I'll just go ahead and use a 4B. Let's start off here at the center, nice and dark. But even here, there are some texturing. let's just keep going. I mean, this might be a little tedious. Let's see how it turns out. So right here, so just trying to punch in the darkest part first. Probably, obviously, I probably won't put in all those details on the, it's kind of crazy. But we can simplify and hopefully it'll still look, will have that glow and softness to it. That's what I'm aiming for. Okay, so let's say that is the pupil. And let's go from there. So we know this is going to be the darkest part right here. Let's flow out, go on this side. This part here is brown, it's very dark. This is brown, so there should be a shade right here. There's no, the only white parts are really just these highlights. So let's just give this a shade first. Here, there's a very nice glow there. Okay, so there's a lot of whites here. I'm just gonna leave that. Draw these lines here. Maybe I'll just leave this block white first. Yeah, I'll leave it white first and I'll draw in the rest. Yeah, so much stuff here. So I'm drawing these little lines. So right here it starts to fade out slightly, which is kind of nice. Let's go darker here. Yeah, this is, if you want all the details, unfortunately, it's a much slower process. And with eyeballs, if you draw it nice and big, let's say like this size, and you can be pretty messy, you know, to draw in all the details, because it's kind of meant to be seen far away. Then it actually looks really nice. My drawing here is, you know, relatively small, so that means we have to be a little bit cleaner, smaller strokes. Yeah, because we can't really step away too far from a small drawing, so. Yeah, there's a very nice glow right here. Hope I can catch that. So I'm just going back and forth. I'm just looking at the reference. If I see something, I'll just go ahead and shade it. Push in a little harder. I might have to smudge some of the area, like soft area. I can actually use my finger. Just kind of smudge it out. Or I can use a piece of, a napkin works pretty well too. You just kind of run it over. It's a little bit cleaner. Won't mess up your fingers. Won't get so dirty. So I'm squinting my eyes to try to find the correct value. This should be darker. But the thing with smudging, what I don't like about it is once you smudge one area, it gives, obviously makes it really soft. And then all your other area, you kind of need to smudge it as well, or else it looks out of place. And that's what I don't like about it, because I really do like the lines, you know, the hatch lines or whatever, shading lines. It's like I love to see that kind of stuff. So I know people like to have very clean and realistic drawings, but that's never been my goal. If you want realism, you just take a photograph. Okay, I see how that looks. Okay, so it's not too bad. Let's move on to the other areas, and then, you know, we can come back to this anyways. Let's see, let's try, kind of tentative right here. Okay, let's stick with the 4B. So right here is really sharp. So the blurred out area, this might be kind of interesting. Let's see if I can draw this. So with the blurred out area, it's gonna be, everything's gonna be fuzzy. So let's see if I can recreate that. Probably need it's pretty dark. Let me try a 2B. I don't want to go too dark because it does tend to, should be a little bit lighter, because that way it will keep the focus over here. I'm just very curious as this. Let me shade in the part of the eyeball here first, sorry. Just use a 2B. Because this is not white. I mean, there's a 2B, sorry, there's a HB. People use an HB on the eyelash too. A little bit softer, I mean harder, get more, you know, lines onto the paper, be a little bit fuzzier. So I always remember, this little side story here. I was at Comic-Con, and you know, they have all kinds of artists out there, obviously those comic book artists. And then there was one guy who was drawing something, and really light. It was basically a white piece of paper, but he started shading with like must have been HB, or I think probably even a harder pencil, like maybe a 2H. Anyhow, it was really light, but he kept going at it. He just kept doing this. And I'm like, what's he doing? It's like nothing is happening. And then after a little while, you know, things start to appear, and it was kind of interesting because he was slowly building out the forms, kind of like what I'm doing here. So I'm going from really light, and I'm just kind of push in and go darker and darker, and that was something that he was doing. It was kind of cool, you know, when the forms start to finally emerge. But then I'm like, damn, took a long time to do that, you know. It's like, and I just remember walking away. That's kind of cool, but I don't know if I can handle that kind of repetitiveness. But you know, it's like if you want a very nice, clean drawing, that's just part of something that you have to do. You can't go in and go really fast, kind of like what I like to do, and then have a very clean drawing. It's just not gonna happen. So let's see where we are. This. So you can see with a 2B how soft, I mean, how much more shading you get into an area. And it really does slowly emerge. Let's make this darker. I suppose if you do this all the time, you can get it pretty correct, you know. Keep building it. Maybe it wouldn't take that long. It's just that I'm really impatient, so to me, it feels like a long time. So I guess I'm trying something new here today. So you can try something like this too, you know, next time you draw. Just go light first and then, you know, slowly build it up, kind of like here. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to, let's try a 2B because my HB is, seems like it's can't really get any darker. And I don't want to push too hard onto the paper for now. So where the eyelashes intersect each other, you get a little bit of a blurring, like a bulge between them. Kind of have to draw that. Again, very small detail. Trying to get that in now, but I'll have to go back in later and draw that. Because it's not just one straight line, things get blurred. Looks a little different on the intersections. Okay, yeah, the 2B definitely works better. So let's smooth this out. Let's go back to the 2B, I think this area. There's a continuous darker line here. That's what I was trying to get. Okay, and then now we're back up here. Yeah, you can almost fall asleep shading like this. Trying to get the value correct, and I'm still struggling with that. That's why I'm going back and forth. I suppose if I have done this more often and have a better technique, I could probably get it a little bit more accurate on the first couple of passes. How's that? It looks okay, right? I mean, yeah, it feels a little soft, which is good. So let's come back up here. Let's continue this line here. So the highlight's right here. So that means all this stuff needs to be slightly darker so that we can get the bulge of this eyeball right here. Okay, you can hear the scraping, can you? Crease right here. Comes out all the way here. Fill in some of this eyeball maybe. And then there's gonna be a lot of little details right here. Unfortunately, this is necessary because it's really gonna help bring the focus down here. So all this part right here is blurred out. So the kind of shading I'm doing right here is like little kind of wiggly shapes. It's almost drawing like the texture. Well, basically I am drawing the texture of the skin. So it's gonna get darker here, and then here's the lashes. Yeah, the lashes is a lot of, it's like really dark, and then there's highlights everywhere because of the skin. Lots of little stuff. Darker here. This is going to help with the bulge of the eye. All right, so that's kind of interesting, right? Yeah, I mean, this needs to be darker. But let's add a little detail here because this is kind of interesting. So I'm feeling some softness here. I think if I go in here and really sharpen things area, that'd be kind of cool here. On the eye, we can get focus to that. But let me draw some of this corner of the eye right here, which is kind of interesting. Because this part, again, is all faded out. Highlight here, highlight here. So I'm just marking that. Not too hard because you don't have to fade everything out. This part is actually pretty dark. So let me slowly build it up. My instinct is to use a darker pencil, but maybe if I slowly build it up, you know, I will get probably a more accurate, softer, softer area. Really dark hairs. Okay, so let's maybe switch to my 2B here. Okay, yeah, very delicate. Something like that, right? Let's see, it probably goes out more. See, my shape is wrong. And then it just kind of fades out. Obviously, you know, it's been touched up because the photographer, all they want is the eyeball, so they pretty much spray everything white all around the eye. Okay, so the eyelash right here, these over here are blurred out, and it's gonna get sharper and sharper, so that could be kind of interesting. So let's say this is sharper here. And for that, I'll probably use like a 6B or something and just draw like a really hard line. Or I can slowly build it up too. Well, let me try that. Slowly build it up with a 2B. Let's see how that goes. Because this is a very important transition here. Draw some on the back here. So this one is still soft. Let's keep going. And again, it's just eyelash, you know, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as the to reference. Darker. And then the really dark one is going to be right over the eye right here. So let me try that with a 4B. So darkest one looks like it's right here. Maybe I need a sharper pencil. This is kind of interesting. Dark. Some curls up. And make sure to taper the ends. Ends of the eyelash are very sharp. So this is probably 2. Yeah, there you go. That's okay. It's like walking on eggshells right now. Okay. Yeah, not too bad, right? I think it feels, obviously this is way too light here. The eyeball right here needs to be darker now that I've drawn this. This is dark, and then this is gonna be light here. So this is pinkish, so it should be darker. So this part probably needs to be darker as well. But overall, probably come in here and darken up this area. Oh my god, I think this shape is actually wrong. Yeah, this needs to come in a lot more. Wow. Okay, so this I need to erase out. Okay, so let me correct this line here. Okay, that's better. Okay, so still a little bit more shading down here. Okay, so let's see. Well, looking at this, you see how nice and soft these areas are, but then in here, you know, because I started, I think I used the 4B. You see how much texture there is. So in a way, you know, it's no good because it's a little bit too rough. So I really should fill in those gaps better. So if I start with a HB and slowly build up from there, you know, you end up filling up the gap a lot better and things will be a little bit more consistent. So here I started out dark, right? And then going from there, and then here I started out light. So now you can kind of see the difference in terms of, I guess, the realism. And okay, so let's add some area here. So this starts to fade. So this is kind of interesting. I know it's been, I don't know how long, almost half an hour. Just have to reset the camera. Yeah, I'll probably definitely continue this off camera. Put my head over it. So this part needs to be a lot darker now. So let's push it up. All right, let's try 4B. So what I'll do is I'll step away from it and then, you know, just continue from there. See with a fresh eye, which is very important. darker line here. Yeah, a little too rough. It's like it's just not filling in. So I do have to come in here with a HB. You can dab it with an eraser though. Help to clean things up, and then I can go in there and shade it again. That does work too. Smooth things out. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Again, it's just a lot of small, very slow, delicate shading to get that value correct here. So let's shade this a little darker. So this might be kind of cool to see as a speed video. You know, you see it a little bit faster, you see it develop. Or else this is pretty boring to watch, right? So very light. If you're gonna try this, you know, go with a harder pencil like HB, and then just kind of drawing these little wiggly shapes. Like if I want to make this darker, what I'll do is I'll keep doing it, and I'll slowly push into it. That way you can, you know, gradually, very gradually, see it get darker and darker. I mean, there is kind of, I guess, a satisfaction to that as well. And to see, slowly see this come about. So like here now I'm doing another pass, pushing a little harder. It's very light highlight here with the fluid between the eyes, on the eye and the eyelids. That's very important. That's how we're gonna get that shine. So again, very small detail. Let's see if I can darken up this edge right here. That's gonna help give us the shine on the bottom. So you see how small I'm drawing, and again, if you were to draw a much bigger eye, you know, these kind of details can be very rough. You can really go in there, and it's a little bit easier to shade, but it's more work because you're doing a larger area. But then when you step back, you'll be like, oh, that looks great. Okay, so now there's a little bit of shine there. Dark here. Almost forgot. Totally forgot about the lower lids. Just concentrating up there. Ah, more hair, more lashes. See, this one is all blurred out. It's actually kind of creepy once you keep staring at the eye. Kind of drawing the sharp ones. The good thing is almost random. I don't have to draw exactly the same, or else it's really gonna drive you nuts. This one's a little too uniform. Change the shape a little. Okay, so here's the sharper ones. I have to get this or else we won't see the roundness of this lid right here. I'm just wondering if you guys are still here. Should I even bother with the camera at this point? You've either turned it off or you're falling asleep. Okay, so I'm gonna try to blur this out in case you guys are still here. And then for the sharper ones, let's go with a 4B. I'll try to make this a little harder. Very thin. Okay, how's that? So obviously minimize in terms of the amount of lashes. That feels okay. It looks like it's blending. Okay, so I'm just going to, I will finish this. I'll clean this up a little bit more. It's kind of interesting. I haven't done this for a long time. Guess it's good practice for me to be a little bit more patient. Okay, and yeah, I you know, something like this is probably like 60% there. If I can push it up to like 80, I think that'll probably be it. 100% would be like, you know, fully realistic. So let's see. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue this off camera. Thanks for watching this a long video, and hopefully I'll show you guys a much better drawing at the end. Alright, so here is my final drawing for this eyeball, and I didn't spend too much time after this, after the recording. It was just mainly the same thing. I just kind of add a little bit more detail here and there, smooth things out. I did correct some of the structures in the eye. I didn't realize it was actually off from the reference. But other than that, it was pretty much the same thing. Just, you know, just kind of keep shading and keep looking back at the reference and try to get the roundness of this eyeball. And in terms of the focus, it's okay. You know, we get a little bit of that from here, softer on the outside. So that's kind of interesting reference to work with. And I haven't drawn the eyeball for a long time, so maybe it is time. Okay. All right, so I hope you guys like this little drawing of an eyeball, and I'll see you guys next time.